Cool. Sorry
Oh,
about the
good.
audio for those that are just beginning to watch. Things that have happened. Thorax set up a stall to try and cure some man's bunions. It didn't quite work, but Davos arrived in the nick of time to use his lay on hands
And that's a foot fetish.
and indulge in some foot action, some hot,
I'm
hard,
immune from disease.
some hard bunion foot action, and healed a man of his ailments, and went ahead and was able to convert his family to the path of Lathander after seeing this near miracle. Bell walking
Also,
back
Thorax
through
helped.
town. Also, perhaps Thorax helped. A very theatrical
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Yeah, you helped with the conversion. They were like, God, no more dodgy street healing for us. And at this point in time, Falcor had gone to the armory to buy some arrows, meeting with a young halfling man. And as Belle begins to head south through the markets, a small group of children kind of running past her, bumping into her, and heading further north into the market city. She continues on her way to the Bearded Dragon. Now, Magnus, you round a couple of corners and begin following the road that you know kind of heads towards the Bearded Dragon. The lights down here are starting to get quite dim, and you can see a few candles going on inside of different houses, like lights are just beginning to be lit, and there's a few oil lanterns probably spaced like really far apart, probably about 180 feet between intersections of roads. And you just roll a perception check for me as you're kind of walking around. Probably you know that you've only got about 300 feet to get to the Bearded Dragon. A couple of corners left.
That would be a 6.
Yeah, nothing really like. You don't really pay any mind to like the world around you, but you do notice that like your eye has swollen quite a bit since about an hour and a half ago, and you are ready for a very strong drink. You think that you'll be using at least one of those platinum to try and get amongst the best of what Gus has, and you round the last corner, kind of almost licking your wounds, and make your way into the Bearded Dragon, which tonight is busy. You open the door and you can hear fiddles just like playing an extremely quick melody. There is like the sound of like banging on like a timber box of sorts that is creating some percussive beat underneath of the fiddle. There's a guy that is plucking along on like a long stringed instrument, and in the background there is a halfling that is just wailing this amazing tune, singing songs about I suppose the folklore around the area. And he finishes this song about a goblin that has been estranged from its community, and finally finds a house to live in within Daggerford. And everyone raises their mugs and cheers, and you can see Gus is just run off his feet. He's like back and forth, got the pit sweats going, and he's like, even got the upper belly sweats going, like mopping his brow when he gets back to the bar, and he like pours another ale. It looks like there is no one here to help him. He's just, you can smell like little bits of like sweet smoke coming out of the like kitchen itself, and as this kind of occurs, you also smell like a small amount of burning. Like it is like hideous, like burnt meat sort of smells going on. So you begin descending the stairs, and what are you doing?
First off, I'm going to go to the kitchen and I'm just going to call out, Melinda, are you all right?
Like, oh goodness, Magnus, it's good to have you back. Could you come give me a hand, please?
Yes, of course I can do that.
Thank you. We'll float you down the river tonight, sir. Give me a hand, just for a minute. And
No worries.
As you begin running around trying to assist Melinda, it takes the next 20 minutes until the world starts to almost slow. and you get back to a point where there's actually some semblance of, order within the tavern. Just an extremely busy period as everyone knocks off work, and it slows down to a point where Melinda looks at you and she's just like, "Oh, bless your soul, you two. I don't know what we would have done if you weren't here. Thanks so much. Here." And she just gives you like all of the trimmings from like a very heavy piece of pork, like a whole heap of like crackling sides. There's just some really tasty meats that are amongst it. And you take a plate and head out towards the main section of the bar. And it seems like it is starting to quiet down now. There's a couple of songs that are still being played, and you sit down and take some rest.
Can I take the mates up to the bar with me to where Gus is?
Yep.
And I'll say, Gus, share some food with me.
Hey, can anyone hear me?
Hey, that sounds like Phil.
That sounds like a me.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Yeah, it's a you.
It's a you, Sil. Oh, sorry, that was less effective than what I thought.
It's a me.
That's a me.
Fantastic. Welcome, Sil. Everyone is beginning to make their way back through the market city, and some slower than others,
That's
but
nice.
we are getting there. The main things that you've missed thus far are that Davos went ahead and healed a young father's bunions with his lay on hands after Thorax had paraded as a market healer of sorts with Thoju, saying that Thoju had magical properties that would save any ailment that essentially affected the group. So you saw
Was
that
Soju also ate your rug?
Thoju
What?
also ate the half rug that you took from inside of the archives.
Wait, I didn't take a half rug, did I?
Okay,
Who
so
had that
You did
rug?
now.
that's all right.
So,
Quote unquote, you took a half rug.
someone took a rug.
That's okay. Doesn't matter
Not
where it came
me.
from. It is now in the belly of a froghemoth. So
Also, sorry,
yeah.
Luke, quickly, just
Yep.
before whilst you explain, our overlays on Twitch are all over the place.
Yep, I just fixed them up. So they should
Thank
be
you so
better.
much. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, they're perfect.
So for everyone on Twitch, I end up fucking around with the overlays live because we have people coming in and out of Discord, and I haven't found an overlay that works for Discord yet. So bear with us when we have little messed up sections. Thank you all for watching. Back into the game. So Sil, currently you are standing around...
Hello.
No, sorry. So you're currently standing around with Davos and Thorax, and we'll come back to that shortly. But for the moment, Belle, you walk inside of the tavern, and you can see that right now the world is chaotic. There is just hundreds of people like drinking heavily, playing games. There's gambling going on. You don't think you could find like a quiet corner except for your rooms, which are above the tavern. You roll a perception check for me as you have a bit of a look around.
All right, sure. It's 17 and 3, so 20.
20. So you can't see Magnus around anywhere, but you smell like everything from stale beer and vomit through to like crackling pork and like mashed potatoes. The entire like tavern atmosphere of smell, and you begin to think, I thought I saw Davos walking this way. Not Davos, Magnus walking this way.
Magnus, yeah.
You kind of notice just a little bit of black fabric from the kitchen that kind of like swishes around for a second as a set of plates get dropped on the counter of the bar. And that's about it.
Okay, so what I do is I make my way up to the bar because I know that Gus or someone will be there.
Cool.
And then I approach him and I say, "You're busy tonight."
And Gus looks across at you and he's like, "Busy? I haven't even heard of busy until tonight. Fucking Jesus Christ. Belle, can I get you anything? Make it quick."
Do you have anywhere for me to stay tonight?
Yeah, sure. We got rooms. Mostly people are drinking right now. You want a drink?
No, I'm good, thanks. Have you seen Cope by any chance?
Nope. And he's already halfway out of the bar. Like carrying another two
Alright,
tankards
so I
across
just...
the room.
So since we kind of obviously been here before and I kind of know that he has to go get a key for the rooms, I make my way over, just get one of the keys that I know that are still there and just make my way out.
Cool. So yeah, you grab a key, walk out, and take the back stairway that kind of like spirals up along the edge of the building. You find key number 3, fits the lock, open the door, and you find that even though there's muffled like fucker, give me another drink faster, like through the floorboards of the rooms, you can actually still get a bit of peace and quiet, and you begin to relax.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and see if I can work out this stuff.
Cool. So we'll say for the next hour, you sit around and have a bit of a think about the staff, what it does, and how you are connected to it. You spend a short while.
And if I can connect with it.
Yeah, and if you can connect with it.
Apparently I'm going to work the staff.
Yep. So at the end of this hour, you have spent time turning it over, playing around with, like, you know, different sigils that are inscribed in, like, odd places. And you look around the base of the hand that is sitting atop the staff. You can see that it's not carved out of the timber. It's actually something that was dismembered, mounted, and petrified. And you can see that the detail that is in the skin is all too real. It is all kinds of, you know, like realistic detail. The wrinkles in the hands, the like scars that are across the hand itself, the sections where the skin has been sealed. It's kind of like almost as though it's been cauterized against something extremely hot before it was mounted. And you find that you attune to the weapon, and it has...
I can attune?
You can attune to the weapon, and it has the abilities that we've spoken about in the past, which were 3 charges, and at in the morning it regains 1d3 charges. So you roll a d6 and half the result. So if you roll a 1, you get 1.
Right,
if you roll a 2, you get 1. You can...
and you rounded it up like everything else?
Yeah, I'll send you the details of everything else.
Alright, cool.
Look them up, but yes.
Thank you so much.
You attune to the staff of withering. And it can be used as your spell focus. So, upon this happening, Magnus, you are downstairs, and Gus says... He looks back and he's just like... I'll be in their cups for about 10 minutes. Let's... Please, I'd love a drink. And he, like, grabs the Fireball whiskey out from under the counter and puts a stein on the counter. It just begins probably like a good, 4 or 5 shots, and takes out a second stein, and he, like, like 2 or 3, and he sits it in front of you, and he's just like, long days, and, like, cheerses you, and then just downs about half of it, sits it on the counter, picks up a piece of crackling, and begins, like, munching. He's like, I don't know how your day's been, but good Lord.
I point to my face and I say, this is how my day's been, and then I drink all of it.
He's like, Jesus Christ. What'd you do? Pick a fight with fucking children.
You should see the other guy. He's doing all right. He's pretty fine.
Yeah, imagine so with what it looked like. Fuck. That's on the house. Do you want a nail? I can do you a nail. How about that?
That would be incredible.
And he takes the tap and just begins pumping. And he's just like, where's the rest of you folk? I'm been expecting you the last day or 2.
I think most of them got distracted by the night markets. We've had a hell of a time.
Aye, we got this spillover from the night markets, as you can see, or people getting ready to go out. God, I swear, Fridays are my worst ordering days. But I am good.
Just think of the coin, Gus. Think of the coin.
Yeah, It's good. It is good. And thanks for putting the shit up to Zents the last time they were around. They really haven't come by in the last couple of weeks. Sim.
They are a tenacious bunch. Be on your guard.
Yeah, That's good. It's good news. Well, I better go. And you can see that as he looks up and is distracted, there's a elven man that is currently standing tiptoed on top of a stein, finishing what looks like a very large keg that has been sat on the edge of their table, and he's beginning to tip and sway as he's finishing the last of this keg. The hair behind him seems to hang perfectly vertically. There is no no fault in anything that about the appearance of this individual, except for the extremely bizarre scene of standing on top of a stein and drinking a cask of ale. Gus is just I gotta deal with this. And he just leaves the bottle on the counter and heads off towards the table. And he's like, "Oi, brigands, get the fuck out of here. I don't want none of that shit in my bar." And they kind of look out, and you can see that the elf is just tipping the bottom of the cask up as he kind of pirouettes almost slowly on top of this stein. He's pushing the bottom of the cask up with a scimitar. And pushes it to a point where it balances on his lip for a moment, and he just shakes his head. The cask goes flying a little down past the table. He belches for what is 3 seconds, and he's like, "Oh, well, that is some fine ale you have, sir." He kind of sways a little bit as he steps off of the stein and walks out of the bar. Now, Syl,
Cool.
after seeing this occur in front of Davos and Thorax, you're a little amazed by the tenacity of Thorax. You saw that the creature was a little unwieldy before he was able to set up the night markets, and it was a bit haphazard him doing this, and almost a little dangerous. You sit around for a second and see that as the family walks away, and Davos has finished almost not necessarily profiteering, but kind of speaking to them in a way that is very beneficial for the Morning Lord. And he's is leading them in a prayer and looking towards the spire of the Temple of Lathander as the light disappears. He kind of pats the young boy on the back, and he's just gives him a coin. And you can see that there's a glint of gold in the small amount of dancing lights that begin to circle around the area that you're standing in, expanding the night market is run in front of you. So what are you doing, Sil?
So Davos, what are you doing with that small child?
Looking at his feet.
I've heard about some agents of particular gods who take a little too kindly to small younglings. Should I be concerned?
Can I roll an insight check? Because I take this as literal first.
Yeah, sure. Roll an insight check.
18 plus 2.
There's something about what he's saying that seems honest in Sil's tone. He's pretty difficult to read, but
I understand that he's insinuating that I'm a pedo.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't insinuating that. I'm just asking.
I was just
How dare
heavily
you.
implying.
And I don't know.
How dare you? Have I taught you nothing of the ways of Lathander?
Well, actually, not a whole lot of the more theoretical side of things. It's a lot of practical stuff that I've learned.
We do not harm those that are young, nor those that are old. We just do not harm only those that are evil.
Oh, good. Okay, you can count me on board. I am with you. I was worried about this the whole time.
Can I do an
I
insight
didn't wanna
check to make sure he doesn't think I'm a pedo?
Sure.
That's another 18 plus 2.
Just very self-conscious.
So you're definitely
right
a
now.
pedo, right?
Sil, what is your honest opinion of Davos?
He's probably not a pedo. He hasn't seemed that way until this very moment. My memory has I've just been hang on. I don't know too much about religion, but I do know this.
There's things, right, where kids have been harmed.
Yep. I don't know the theory. I don't know how it all works. All the words and all the beliefs and who came from where. But I have heard word from traders and stuff that
Don't get involved in the detail.
Yeah, I'm not too involved. So, yeah.
That's all good. We got a bit meta there for a second, but let's go ahead and bring it back in. We got Davos. You see this family walk away. Bell, Magnus, Co. are all, presumably gone back to the tavern, and you stand around as Falcor is kind of walking back up towards you all. The four of you stand around. What's happening?
I say that we should get Soju away from the markets and the people to somewhere a bit more discreet and safe.
Will he fit in a stable?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But would he eat the horses?
Are there any empty stables around?
Oh, good idea. Perhaps we can ask a guard or someone.
Davos, you know that there's stockyards here. You know that stockyards are usually a place for thoroughbred to be brought up and kept, and that it's quite a. I mean, people often lodge here, but there's not necessarily any other creatures that would usually come by. So you know that you could go there, and perhaps rent a stable.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I like this stable idea, Davos. What does Thorax think?
Good point.
I'm okay sleeping in a stable. Sleep in a stable, it's fine. I'm a responsible parent.
Maybe that'll get us a discount.
Okay. So, from where you are, you begin thinking for a moment, Davos, where the stables are, and you're like, they're in the south of town. Two ways to do this are to go through the market to the south of town, or we can go ahead and head out the north gate, track through the wood, and or you can even try to squeeze through some back alleys. It's up to those are kind of your three paths. I mean,
all of these paths sound pretty fun.
I think of Daggerford as kind of almost having a crossroads near the center that head you to east of the districts, north, south, east, and west. And this is kind of a situation where you have to head from the north to the south.
Well,
Let's go the long way.
If we go through the market, someone's going to get eaten. Probably, right?
Or we make a whole bunch of money.
True. And if we squeeze through the alleys, what happens if you get stuck?
I guess we live there now.
The
adventures have to come to us.
Thorax, roll an insight check for me.
Four plus 3, 7.
7. You turn around and you look at Thoju. He's not really doing much at the moment. Just kind of chill. A bit placid.
I vote money. Let's go make some money and make some friends.
Cool.
I go to climb on top of Thoju.
Cool. By this point, he's kind of a little...
Yep.
He's pretty much okay with you climbing up onto him. he doesn't mind the fact that this small halfling creature scrambles up his back and sits on top of his head. You sit up there and you begin walking into the markets, I'm assuming?
And I guess we just follow along by necessity.
Can I just do one persuasion check on Thorax to go the long way and going the short way?
What of Thorax's senses are you appealing to here?
Better not say decency.
I gotta choose one that he has.
Yeah.
Or intelligence.
Try decency.
What about
Or intelligence.
just go for the intimidation again?
I appeal
let's
to
just do
your sense of
intimidation.
indecency.
Yeah, I withdraw my persuasion and do intimidation instead.
He is on a giant frog behemoth, though. How do you do that, hey?
2 plus 5.
Yeah. You it's very, very unfamiliar. You're craning your neck upwards to intimidate Thorax. And by the time you begin releasing the words from your mouth, you're just like, Thorax, I swear if you do that, we're going to have a bad time. And you're looking up into the kind of gaping maw of the froghemoth that looks more like a tired Labrador at the moment, with tongue lolling out the side and mouth just slightly open than any extremely dangerous creature. But it's very apparent that the 3-inch teeth could easily drive through. And you just sort of take a second and you're like, oh, we're following this frog.
Can we at least disguise it? Can you use your invisibility?
But what if
Put
someone
glasses
looks
on
at
him.
Put glasses on him.
Glasses and mustache.
Just entire froghemoth and then a set of specs just sitting across the eye stalk at the top.
He's got a point. She's got
I'm
a
just
point.
I'm picturing everyone being convinced, and then he eats them off his own face, and everyone freaks out.
It's Chicken Boo from Animaniacs. He wears a disguise to look like human guys, but he's not a man, he's a chicken boo.
Wow.
I vote no for the invisibility in case someone walks into Thorax and injures Thorax with their clumsy, tall man feet.
Can I use a persuasion check on Thorax?
Yep, you can give it a go.
5 plus 3.
5 plus 3. Doesn't seem to sort of feel like he wants to follow that recourse. You see Thorax and Thoju just begin storming into the markets. There's 4 or 5 girlish giggles and screams as a group of about, probably 10 or 15 women part as they look like they've been out from... you actually know one of these institutions. It's like a higher finery and learning institute. A lot of them out in very, elegant robes. And as you sort of see Thoju walk through them, a few of them giggle and kind of hold their mouth. And the rest of them just freak out and kind of run to the nearest stores. And Thoju is just walking through town, tentacles at his sides, just
I say to the others that we need to flank him and get him through as fast as possible.
Yeah. I'll take left, you take right, and just make sure no one falls into that gaping maw.
Cool. So the two of you move up into pretty strategic positions. Falcor, what are you doing as this all occurs?
Well, I'm gonna stay behind Thorax. He seems like he has no idea what's going on here.
Okay. So you stay behind Thorax. You're kind of
So are you enabling?
are you being
What?
an enabler right now?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so you're kind of the you're almost the hype man for Thorax. You're walking along. You've got like a pouch out. You're like kind of come see the amazing thing.
Play my bagpipes.
Oh, that is good. Okay, so go ahead and roll a performance check as you walk through the markets playing your bagpipes.
Ooh, 16 plus is actually. Oh yeah, there is 17 total.
Fuck yeah. You see heaps of heads turn as the abrupt change in music, causes alarm in the people around you. Not a very common instrument, the bagpipes, in the areas around Daggerford. You know that very far north into the hills that there's like areas that are kind of tribes that use these implements, and you've been through there, you heard the music, and you're like, I need this. I need this in my life. And every day since, you've played bagpipe. You make sure that it's something that even if you can't play for, tracking a creature, you sit there at night and practice the fingerings and blowing into
I
the
finger
bag.
those holes.
Yeah, you do. And it shows because people turn to this obscure music and just like everyone is eyes on you. I think that probably a good 90% of the crowd is currently looking directly at both you, Falcor, and you, Thorax. Thorax, would you like to add anything to this?
Feels like money should be thrown at us.
Yes, I say, throw us money for good.
I guess can I get into the spirit of things and like twirl my staff around like a boss,
Oh, sure.
like a ring, like those guys out the front.
Like a band, like a band person.
That's exactly what it sounds like as you begin marching through. Sil, you can either roll performance or you can roll acrobatics as your it's either if you'd like to show off or perform like a set, like a kata almost, as you begin stepping out in front of Thorax and just bringing in as much attention as possible.
Well, I suppose acrobatics are my strong suit, so that's usually my go-to.
Cool.
So we're looking at 11.
It's not bad. Most of the people here have no idea about, the monk training. A lot of the, sort of mid to sort of southern section of the Sword Coast is fighters. There's not a huge deal of, monks. So when you start breaking out the staff and flipping it around, you throw it up in the air, it's spinning. Everyone's like, ooh, and you kind of grab it at a point in time, in time with the music of Falcor, and the three of you just walking along Thorax from the top of this creature. You just see that people are and Copper begins sprinkling the road ahead of you, and immediately you see that Thoju's tongue grabs a bit of copper, begins eating it, and just you see probably about 4 silver worth of copper disappear down his gut. And at this point in time, Falcor, you see that a couple of people are coming up to you with gold. There's one very wealthy merchant that's looking at you, and he's just that is a very peculiar instrument. And he walks up and drops.
Was it Simon Cowell?
It must be. He's how decadent. And he grabs 4 gold from his pouch and sort of pushes it down the front of your trousers. And he's just very nice. And you just continue along as you're playing. It sort of puts you off a little bit, but you just got 4 gold. You're not going to worry about that. Keep playing your bagpipes.
You're in.
Yeah, you guys make your way through to the bottom of the market city, and having caused such a ruckus and stir, the people are invigorated, and there's a couple of merchants even that are outside and just we have wares from the north of Faerun, and you can see Chris from the similar tribal cities. There are random relics and things like this that are from similar locations, and one or two people exchanging coin for them, and trying to remember this night of a froghemoth walking through town, played to bagpipes, with a strange halfling and monk. Davos, you're sort of walking in tow of all of this. What are you doing?
I'm playing along. There's nothing else I can do.
Cool. You end up picking up the amount of probably about let's see here. For copper, you pick up about 67 copper. And then as you begin looking for silver on the ground, you do find that there's about 12 silver pieces, and in amongst it as well, actually, there is 6 gold. And so you're kind of on patrol behind the whole thing. People are just sort of showering the way with coins, and one person, you see at one point, a person leans over to pick up some of the coin, and one of the guard that's with you, that was with you, Nadar, pulls his sword out with the scabbard attached still, so that the blade is sheathed, kind of wraps him on the back of the knuckles, and he's like, "Never steal money from performers." And the boy that looks a bit grubby, obviously living on the streets, kind of cowers back a little, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't mean anything of it. I just..."
Flick him a silver.
Sorry?
I flick him a silver.
Oh, cool. Very nice. So you flick him a silver, and he kind of smiles at you, and he's just like, "Thank you. I'll eat." And he just runs off back to the north, where you know that there's a couple of food vendors. You guys make your way through here, gaining some renown in Daggerford, and where are you headed? For the stockyards, I'm assuming?
Yes, that's our general aim.
Cool. So
the most performable route there, I suppose.
It begins getting to 300, 400 feet outside of the market city, and Falcor, are you still playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the tune.
From the top window of one of the buildings, you hear, "Shut the fuck up!" And
it's
one of the
kind
windows,
of that saxophone playing at night, but with silhouette of me in a bagpipe.
Anyway, you hear that
Lisa, it's your birthday.
you hear someone obviously extremely disgruntled, just "Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to sleep here." And you notice,
"Shut up, boss!"
And you continue. There's probably about 4 or 5 more houses that do the same thing, and Serge kind of walks up beside you, and he just goes, "It's probably might be a good idea to shut up."
For 4 gold down the pants, yeah.
I thought you already had that.
No, I want 8.
Maybe, hey Nadar. Falcor said he wants 4 gold down his pants. Want to help him with that? And Nadar kind of flushes bright red for a second, and he's like, "I don't have my coin purse on me. I'm sorry." Just and kind of shrugs it off, but keeps following you guys. Both of them flanking you. Falcor, you can continue playing if you like. And
Natural 20 now.
Just everyone in town wakes up and starts partying. No. So you guys make your way down to the stockyards, and I'll say that by this point, Thorax, you can see that it has gotten quite dark now, and Thoju's doing pretty well. He's stayed on track, followed the commands that you've been able to give, your basic guiding him system. As you get towards a fence, just roll a animal handling check for me.
18 plus 5.
18 plus 5. Very nice. You manage to bring him up to the fence, and you can see that like the gates in front of you are kind of maybe 4 or 5 like inch panels, like separated by like maybe like 4 or 5 centimeters, I suppose. And you can see through that there's like a whole heap of stables down one side, and on the opposite side of this kind of like open straw-laden area is a whole heap of like what you call them buildings, like a the word's escaping me. It's like a thing. It's a barn. There's barns everywhere. Barns galore. No, there's like 5 of them down the right-hand side as you look into the area, and looks like it's locked up at the moment, but just roll a perception check.
Everyone will.
Just
Uh,
at this point.
That is 2
Thorax.
plus 3, making 5.
5. Yeah, it looks pretty locked up. Like there's a heavy bolt around the front, padlock on it, and yeah.
Luckily, we can just walk into one. It'll probably be fine.
Is that
They'll
like an
understand because I'm a parent, and that gives me super legal powers.
So what are you doing?
I'm just
office?
walking.
Like an office space?
Yes, I'm just basically walking towards the nearest barn and trying the door, or getting Thoju to try the door.
Oh, so this is on the opposite side of like a fence. So you've come up to a fence, and it's kind of like locked off. And then on the
I
opposite
see.
side, yeah.
I feel we should just sleep at the fence because, as an animal, you should be outside, sleeping under the fence, next to the fence, near the fence.
Cool.
Fence.
So you go ahead and you just start trying to put Thoju down for a good night's sleep.
Correct.
We
Also, I
least
eat a bunch of rations.
Okay, cool.
Can we at least put some like hay around to obscure it?
Do you have any hay? I mean, so where you are, like the fence is probably about like 7 feet. Thoju can see over it, and Thorax can see over it. The like gate is held locked with a bolt, and if anyone else wants to look around, you can roll a perception check.
Maybe you can just put like a bit of hay on top of his eye stalk so people don't know it's like
Good night.
a proper behemoth.
I like it.
I rolled an 8.
Roll an 8.
Put one of those like sleep shades on it, like you know the ones when you can't sleep properly.
Yeah. Davos, you can see that inside one of the barn lights goes out. Like pretty much the closest one. It just seems to be extinguished.
I go and knock on the door of that barn.
Cool. You just. I mean, you guys are outside of this gate, but you bash on the gate for a second, and wait for a moment. You see it. Oh yes, hello.
I say sorry for the late call, but can we buy a barn for tonight? We'll pay extra.
Extra. Yeah. 5 gold for the evening.
Am I in earshot of this?
Yeah. You can see that there's this guy that's walking up at the moment, relatively like peasantry clothing, and is like holding a candle, like just a lit candle. He's like walking towards you.
When he says that'll be $5, I yell out, "Make it 6."
Sure.
I turn to Thoju and say, "We're sleeping fancy tonight."
Okay, 1 minute. And he turns around and walks back inside. Looks like he's like almost half asleep. And comes back, unlocks the gate, pushes it open towards you guys. And as it opens, he sees what is in front of him. He's like, "What the hell is that?"
I say, how about 7?
More like 10.
12, I say.
Oh, Jesus. Can't deal with this. If you head down to the end, you'll see that there's a water trough. Turn left, and right at the bottom, you'll see that go down the stairs. There's a mud pit, usually for pigs, but I put him at home for the night. Just put him in there. And bolt it shut. Don't want any of my horses missing. Otherwise,
Okay.
your ass. In fact, another 15 I'll give you back in the morning. If me horses aren't going.
We would like to buy one of your horses. And then I look at Davos and go, "Pay the man," and waddle off towards the mud pit.
Cool. So you just begin like walking through towards the directions that he's given, and
I say ignore him, and then I pay the money for the thing.
right. So you hand over 30 gold, 15 that will be given back to you if the horses are still alive in the morning. And you can see that as you begin walking down Thorax, there's some extremely well-bred colts like towards the front of the like stockyard. As you begin getting down, there's like some Clydesdales that would be like stock horses. There's like a single war horse that is very like extremely muscular and kind of like pushing against the doorway as you walk past, like just braying and snorting. The hay kind of gets kicked out for a second, and you see Thoju's tongue just like smash the hay, pull it back into his mouth, and it just begins chewing. But you...
It could have gone the other way.
I'm not...
I was like, oh shit, they lost their bond.
But you continue walking down, and you can see that it goes into like old drays. There are like some really old horses as you get to the end here. You turn left at the water barrel and end up walking down a set of stairs and around a corner that goes out into like a sty, an exact sty. The sty's walls are probably about 6 feet, and it looks like there's everything from feces to food to pig hair in this area. And
you like food?
You see that at the bottom of the stairs there is a heavy, heavy door that looks like it's made of like some very thick timber beams. And as you walk down the stairs, you have to duck your head as you like sort of see Thoju bending over, and he kind of like gets to the bottom of the stairs and like sprawls out on his stomach, and the mud just like you know those guys at Falls Festival that go down the mudslide hill. He does that across the pit and just like lays in the mud, rolling around, like the tentacles are like slapping mud onto himself. He grabs like the trough that's in the corner that you hadn't noticed before, that was full of water, just like raises it over the top of himself, and it just like drenches him. It's almost like a flash dance moment, and a whole heap of water like splashes over the top of him. The two of you are rolling around in the mud, and life is good.
Time for sleep.
Cool. So, Davos.
Yeah, let's have a nap.
Davos, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I just have to turn off the screen.
Sorry?
the screen.
Oh, okay.
He's pouting.
He's gone. Right.
Yeah, no, I sleep there as well.
Oh, cool. So you go walk down, and you can see that Thorax and Thoju are just rolling around in the mud. The door is open.
Oh, I close the door.
Cool. You close and bolt the door, and you find like a small amount of comfort in sitting up against the door and in the stairwell, and hearing on the opposite side the sloshing of mud, and Thorax kind of almost cooing to his new baby. Still, Falcor, you're both standing here as Davos kind of looks to you and he says, "Someone's got to watch him," and just heads off. So, what are you two doing?
Okay, yeah, somebody does have to watch him. Then I turn around and walk out.
Very good. Where are you heading?
Probably just outside, so I don't have to get that responsibility.
Yeah, cool. So you walk outside. You can see that like the stockyard keeper at the moment is just kind of looking around, and he looks across at you, Scylla, and he's just like, "Is there gonna be anything else?"
I can't hear you.
He looks across at Syl, and he's just like, "Is there gonna be anything else?"
Oh, sorry, I mean, I can't hear. Oh, Sil, Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can't hear you.
We ain't getting him. No.
Type it now. I think he's saying he's hungry or he's Italian.
Charades! Charades! Do it charades!
No.
Faccio di culo
How many
disgraziato.
Sil is
Walking,
walking.
you walk out too.
He doesn't want
You also
responsibility.
You walk out. You eat a giant.
2 words.
Two words.
Two
Two
words.
tiger tanks approaching
First
from the
word.
First word.
northeast.
First word.
Beard.
Beard.
Vomit?
Scrotum.
beard.
Second word.
Dragon. Bearded dragon.
Hey, very good.
Yeah.
Gets to the
No,
bearded dragon.
can you show us dragon?
Please show us.
Show us dragon again.
Second word. Very good.
Harpy owl. Blood hawk. Raven.
Poor Davos.
Standard Jordan.
Vomiting flyer guy.
I fall asleep against the door.
Cool. Yeah, you get your rest, Davos. It's an early evening, but you do get a lovely full rest in. Thorax, you get the same. In the same environment, you fall asleep, and the heartbeats are kind of like raising you every time. You end up on top of the creature, and you kind of like wriggle down into the slime on the surface of his skin, mixed with the mud that you're rolling around in. And as you kind of like begin to like warm up a little, you can feel that the heartbeat of this creature is just like very slow, steady, like rhythmic. It puts you to sleep.
Outstanding.
Still, and Falcor, you head back towards the Bearded Dragon, where you enter and find Magnus sitting at the bar, deep in his cups, and nursing a sore head.
Nice.
Still, I wish your
They
microphone
do.
was working. So, Magnus, what are you up to currently? I'm lagging. Okay, everything broke
Okey
out for a
doke.
second. Sorry, guys.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna do this in
Hard
charades.
Sorry.
Charades
Don't
for
worry,
the
we
next
covered
half
the
an
matter
hour.
there.
Charades D&D. That's the newest streaming, niche.
Extreme D&D.
Super extreme. Act out a 20, please. Natural 20. However, yes, Magnus. You're a little deep in your cups, and you see Syl and Falcor walk back into the Bearded Dragon. At this point in time, Gus is back at the bar with you and is sharing troubles with the local butcher, and that the guy has had a real lot of trouble getting a hold of meat recently. There was a cold snap that came through the last a few months back that actually put a dent in the amount of lamb that was coming through. And you listen to him, but you're listening to the whiskey as well. And these two walk back in.
Just kind of nod at them in greeting and keep drinking.
Cool. Gus looks at you and he's like, "Well, looks like some of your friends are back." Yeah, Falcor, ale, I seem to remember.
Yes, in a dirty glass.
Oh, hey, I like your style. And look up at Syl, and he's
Please
just
be
like,
clean.
he's like, I don't know what you drink.
He'll take a strong dwarven ale.
Right. Oh, right. Well, get the gold ready. And you
In fact, we'll all take a strong dwarven ale. You as well, Gus.
and he looks up at you, Falcor, and he's like, dirty glass?
Yes, 2 of them.
Right. For who?
Are the guards there as well? Because I owe them a drink.
Yeah, Surge and Nadar have made their way here. And
I guess
you-
they can have
within-
a dwarven ale too.
yeah, I'll say within the 20 minutes that has kind of elapsed since you were at the bar with Gus and Syl and Falcor have arrived. Nadar and Surge show up. You float them a dwarven ale and then an ale chaser. And you see Nadar is a little rosy cheeked, definitely swaying in his seat like he's on a boat, and he's just getting through the ale slowly. He's looking up at Surge, and they're just shooting shit. But yeah, your two compatriots walk in after you guys have discussed the craziness of what happened within the archives that day. And Falcor, you see Gus come back, and he's got 2 steins in one hand and 1 in the other. And he's like, "Right, you're riding dirty, and who's the other?" And he's still looking at you, Falcor.
Unless someone claims it, I will take it as well.
Right.
So I chug one down.
So your bottom's up as he's slowly putting the second glass down. Make a Constitution check for me. A second goes down in front of you, Syl, a dwarven ale, and he looks back at you, Magnus, and he's just like, "I'll just a second," and begins pumping another dwarven ale up onto the bar.
13.
13. Okay. Falcor, you down this and smack it on the table, and you just belch for a second, but the hearty grain. There you go. The grain maltiness of this ale really swirls in your stomach for a second, and then you notice that there's a weird flavor that hasn't been in any dwarven ales before that you've had, and it's got a little bit of what would it be, a minty, the freshness of mint, but not a mint flavor. It kind of pops in your
Spearmint?
mouth. Yeah,
Listerine.
pops in your mouth for a second, and then you taste this spicy kind of almost aniseedy flavor that then begins to turn a bit acidic, and you kind of cough as you finish your burp, and you're just you begin to see the glass hitting the table, and it like splashes, and the droplets like jump up into the air and catch a whole heap of light, and the entire like tavern is reflected in this single droplet that you can see, and it is entirely slowed down for half a second, and then a few moments later you look up and you can see Gus just looking back at you, and he's like, "This one too." And he just kind of like taps on the one in front of you, and he's just like, it's in here too. They're both dirty glasses, so be careful." And kind of nods at you and says, "We can settle this up in the morning." As you kind of take a moment to, right yourself, you like brace against the bar, and it begins happening again. As he finishes his sentence, the words just get drawn out, and he's just like, "Finish this up in the morning," and you just look at him, and it looks like he's saying morning for about 20 minutes. It is an experience, and doesn't seem to go away for about the next 15, 20, half hour. You're not sure when it'll end. But Magnus, the Dwarven Ale... Oh, sweet. The Dwarven Ale is in front of you, Magnus, and Syl, a Dwarven Ale is in front of you also. You look over at Falcor, and he's kind of like... Not like that at all. He's kind of staring just dumbly across the bar at Gus, and he's just like, mouth open, kind of a little like drool dripping out the side, and he's just like, picks up the next glass of ale and begins like sipping it. So, both of you drinking the Dwarven Ale?
Does this look like anything that I've seen before when people eat or drink something?
Are you still not here, Jordan?
Roll a nature check still.
I got 15.
15. You begin looking at him, and you're just like, that's a little odd. I'm not sure that I've seen anyone act like that. Oh. You remember at a point in time in the past that there was a set of, like, berries that you ate, that you had a very interesting afternoon after eating them. You can't quite remember whether your memories are real or whether they were fabricated by some god that passed them to you, or whether you were tricked by the forest. But there was something that was strange about that afternoon, and you haven't gone back there since. Alcohol kind of looks a little like that, as though he's realizing something for the first time in a long time.
I'm not wearing underwear.
And it was all a dream.
And then it was all a dream.
And then I woke up.
But yeah, Magnus, Syl, I'm going to get you guys to go ahead and roll Constitution saving throws for me as you take a couple of sips of the Dwarven Ale.
Before we take our first sip, I want to have a bit of a conversation with Syl.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
I just want to see if I can first. Jordan, can you say something? Because I don't think I'm hearing anything.
I am saying something right now.
I can hear him at the minute, Matt.
I can hear him too.
This is weird.
I can't. Hold on. I'm just going to disconnect and reconnect and see what happens.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sure.
Meanwhile, Falcor, you can't hear Davos because he's not here. But you also can't hear Magnus.
Because he's not here either?
No, you
What's
look
funny
across
is...
and his lips are like flapping in a weird way. Doesn't look like he's trying to talk. He's just like... And Syl kind of looks back at him and he's just like, herpadarp.
I know that language.
Is that actually what I'm saying?
No, not at all. Magnus, Syl, what are you saying?
Okay, so I wanted to say, Sil, quite an ordeal in the archives. Did you want to talk about it?
Are you okay? That's all I need to know. Oh, can you hear me now, Matt?
Matt, can you hear him?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Son of a bitch. Maybe I should disconnect and reconnect.
I can hear you, Jordan.
Yeah, I think
I
Matt
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
So weird.
Matt,
It's very weird that specifically he can't.
yeah. Go ahead, leave the chat and come back.
Okay,
See what
hold up.
happens.
I
Great,
feel
he's
like
gone.
I've just
All I was
given
gonna
my
say
issues to
is-
him.
Here it comes, quick, shut up.
Okay, hi Matt. Can you hear me now, Matt? Matt.
Okay,
Matt.
Jordan, say something for me.
I'm saying your name. Matt.
He's saying Matt.
You are
I can hear everyone but him. I don't know what's going on.
Tell him it's one big prank and no one can hear me.
Yeah,
Let me try
It's a
turning.
huge prank and no one can hear Jordan. Oh, he's gone. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone can hear Jordan still.
I'm still here. Jordan, say something now, and I'll see if I can hear.
Hello?
Any luck?
Is it me you're looking for?
No luck. I do not understand why.
Tell you
You
what,
see
I
me,
cannot
Jordan?
hear him. Hold on. I'm gonna just.
I'm swaying. I'm swaying to you.
I can see
You don't actually
your
see me.
eyes.
I feel like we need like lighters.
I think I'll just
Instead of
disconnect.
yeah.
Hey! I heard that. I heard
Oh,
that.
that's good.
Whoa, what was the timing of that? That was ridiculous.
I don't know when you were going to let go, so please don't let me go. Whoa. But anyway, Magnus, what were you going to say to Syl?
Okay, so the archives. That was a bit of an ordeal. Would you like to talk about it?
Wait, can I start this conversation? Because, typical thing to do is to drink a sip of ale before you start to speak about an ordeal. So can I take a sip and then try and answer?
Oh, yeah. You can take a sip.
Alright, I rolled that constitution check earlier if that's helpful.
Yeah, don't let me know yet. So you take a sip, and you, cheers Magnus, take a sip, and you begin discussing. So just, yeah. You're fine.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, that was difficult, and thank you for taking that punch to the face. It could have been my face, so I appreciate that. How is your face?
It'll heal. I've been through worse, so that's all right.
Yeah, I've never seen him punch that hard before, so
I must have really pissed him off.
Yeah, he's an acquaintance of mine from the past. And he didn't always used to be that way.
I'm sorry things didn't go differently and that you couldn't have a confrontation with him.
Well, for all we know, he's still around town, so keep those eyes on the lookout. Yeah.
I'll do so. I'm still new to this whole having friends thing, but...
Is that what we are? Are we friends?
I think so. I mean, I'm pretty unfamiliar with the concept, but I believe so.
I was always told friendship makes you weak, but... Yeah. Friend zone. I don't know. I was showing off those elf nips before, so I don't know how friend zoned you can get with that.
Hashtag it is canon.
Yeah, I'm glad. I've never had friends. I'd like to try this as a new experience.
Me too, Sil. Me too. And if I can help you, I will.
Thank you. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Ching.
Cling.
I need a real beer right now.
Cling. And then as you take a second sip, let me know the results of your Constitution saving throws.
That's an 18.
18.
And 20 total.
20 total. You guys drink on it like you end up drunk, but you aren't doing the like, oh my god, we're best friends, like hugging each other at the bar and like drowning yourselves in your ale. You have a heavy night of drinking, but it's well deserved. And for the rest of the evening, Falcor, after about an hour of like listening to just drivel and like weirdness, the walls begin like melting a little, and then they like kind of come good again, and then you are still just like sipping on this second glass of ale slowly. You haven't downed it this time, and things begin to like come back to life. You look over at Magnus, and you can see that like, no, his face isn't a clown. He's fine. That's Magnus. Oh, that swelling is his eye. Good God, he got punched.
I minor illusion my face into a clown face.
Sweet.
Yeah. You think that his face is like a clown face for a second again, and it kind of lasts
Clown
for a minute.
college, you can't drink that.
You just begin sort of like slurping down the ale again and smash it down on the counter, and you look back across, and Syl is just kind of smiling at you, a little like, you know, like slightly lazy-eyed, like they've been drinking for a while, and
I minor illusion Syl's face into a clown face also.
you do it, and you see Falcor's eyes just kind of like. But after about 20 minutes of fucking with him, you begin to come good, Falcor.
You're killing my buzz, bro.
Cool. So
Syl and I didn't get like hug each other drunk. We did make out a little bit, but we won't talk about it.
Force this dwarven ale down Hoju's mouth.
you'd have to find him.
Yes.
You'd have to find him.
That's too much effort. Too much effort.
Cool. So you guys go ahead, very drunkenly find your way to a sleeping quarter, and Gus has like slowly been along for the ride since the bar closed. He doesn't get anywhere near like as brick-faced as you guys, but he is pretty sloshed by the end of the night. And he's like, God, let's just settle this up in the morning and find the key. Linda! And you just hear like a muffled like voice from upstairs, and he's just like, oh, you're gonna be sleeping on the floor again. Good night. And just closes the like door that leads to the kitchen, and begins like, you hear like the heavy footsteps of like Gus, who's like, honestly, he's a little overweight, and he's just like like pounds his way up into the room at the top, and you hear slam on the bed. There's like a little box that's open in front of you that's got like keys 1, 2 to 6. 1, 2,
With 3
4
missing.
to 6, sorry. And those are the rooms that are left available.
No. If I just randomly grab, what do I get? Gee.
You go ahead and grab, and you pick up room 4.
Room what?
4.
4. 4 it is.
Yeah. So you guys make your way upstairs. Still, you open up into this room. There's like some towels and like random like cloths on the bed, and you lay down on the floor for a second and just think about everything that has been happening today. You kind of remember Moltolo, and that though when you absconded from your previous like home, he wasn't like as confident. He seemed almost a little less entitled than he was, but this is a few years ago now.
Like he's less entitled now, or he was less entitled back then?
He was back then.
Yeah, that makes sense. Classic Bortolo.
And
Yeah. Not anymore. That was a bit weird.
You sort of dwell on the mention of Felana, the I suppose other tutor that had worked alongside you, and what she may be doing. But for this evening, everyone finds their way to a restful night after some frivolity through the market town. And I think that we will wrap up there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Bagpipes.
More bagpipes. More bagpipes, please. No, but
Right.
for the moment, we are going to go ahead and let our adventurers rest. It has been a long journey getting out of the archives and a good bit of fun on their way through the markets back to the Bearded Dragon. From here out, we will probably be going ahead and working games for the adventurers' downtime, as they will be leveling up to the 5th level, which for those of you that are out there and playing know that is a nice little jump in tier, and 5th level kind of gives you a bit of fun time. So we're going to explore those abilities in some one-on-one like little encounters, and we'll go through the week of downtime that the adventurers have gotten. So until then, you can come along, tell us whether you liked tonight's episode, what you liked about it, whether there was some fun stuff. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Secret Sects Dungeon. You can go ahead and find us on Instagram at instagram.com/Secret Sects Dungeon. We're having a whole heap of fun over there. We've got about 50 people following us, and we love the memes that are posted. We repost stuff of other people's. It's just a good bit of fun if you enjoy D&D. And if you want to catch up on the previous episodes of Secret Sex Dungeon, or just go watch this again, try and pick up some of the finer points. We are aficionados of the game, as you can tell. Go to YouTube and search for Secret Sex Dungeon. This one will be going up as episode 10. I believe that we should call this one The Night Market. Thanks for watching. My name's Luke McFan. I'm the Dungeon Master here, and come back the next time for Secret Sex Dungeon.